Sure. Here we are again in the follow-up chat that we do after each of our shows. We just spent a really blowing away hour with Terry Patten. There was a transmission which we both felt very strongly from him, and perhaps maybe you did too, Mark. I don't know, but it was a very, very powerful time. And we're here again just to kind of debrief one another, to bring up anything that was brought forth by the show.
And Terry said he would come too for a short while.
So he should be here if all goes well.
So Mark, welcome. You are here for the first time, and you find out by this group, I guess, because he is busy on Facebook. No?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're in Integral Saging, and are you also in our masterminding group? No. Oh, that's actually good to know, because I had a moment of panic thinking that people couldn't come into that link, even to see the link, if they weren't in the group. But you proved that not to be the case.
Well, I just clicked on join your Facebook page from the
from the comments
Paradise website.
Okay.
You guys just had a time change in Italy, right?
Yeah, and that's Sunday.
Well, our time change in the U.S. was 2 weeks ago.
I know.
We know.
And it gives all sorts of problems every year.
Well, it created a problem for me because I changed. So after we changed, I thought, I guess they don't have daylight savings in Italy. So I changed my whole future calendar. And so today I tuned in an hour late. Completely missed it, but I know I can go back and watch the recording, which I will.
Okay.
Yes. If this is up, I'll just do this.
All right. So you're in Colorado.
That's
so right. The time difference, the correct time difference between where we are and Colorado is 8 hours difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so it must be 10 afternoon where you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So I actually need to be sure and change next week's back to what it was for the whole previous time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, America does all these things.
And Trump's not going to change it, neither.
No.
Yeah.
America has its own daylight savings time.
Yeah.
No, well, there's 3 or 4 places in the U.S. that don't have daylight savings times. It's very tempting to move to one of them. Hawaii, Arizona, and the Navajo Indian Reservation don't have daylight savings.
Okay. Well, can you pass the entrance exam for the Navajo Reservation?
No. Well, as far as I know, anybody, if you can find a place to rent, anybody can live there. You won't necessarily get the services that the Navajo get. And I don't really know all the details. A white friend of mine lived on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation for a long time, and he was there doing social services and research. But he said it was a horrible place to live. There's just so much litter and poverty and violence and corruption that it was just ground him down until he just, in spite of how beautiful the land was and how much he cared about the people, he could only take it for a few years.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, really
poverty doesn't breed virtue, that's for sure.
No.
Oh, anyway, is Henrik trying to come in?
Henrik, I think, yeah. Okay, I just sent him a link to come in. Hopefully he comes in.
That's good. All right. So we can't.
Terry is
here. Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. All right. Terry is back.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we have Mark from, what was it?
From Integral Staging, Boulder, I should say.
Oh, he doesn't get.
No.
No, he's hearing.
Now he hears us.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Oh, you recognize each other. Well, unfortunately, Mark got confused by the change into summertime that is not the same here in Italy as it is in the US. And he came in an hour late, so he was just expecting to see the show at this point. So you'll have to repeat everything you said.
No, you don't. I mean, you can if you want to. How many people are on this call?
Well, we don't.
At the moment, the people are watching. Only 4 people are watching at the moment. I invite you, come in, come and talk. Don't watch. I mean, you can watch all the time and even 3 days later or 3 years later, but this is the opportunity to come in. Come in, show up. You know, this is one of my missions. I want to inspire people to show up. For all my life, sort of I was a classical singer, and so I showed up on stage, but it was not me. That was a role which I played, you know. But now show up as you is a challenge, you know, and I know that, and I really would inspire you to do that. And if you have problems, ping me, I help you. That was my little pit.
What's your hourly rate, my dear? Yeah.
Later.
Okay.
Well, so I have a question. So Heidi, did you say that you showed up on stage as a character or as not yourself singing?
No, it's not as a character, but it is in form of a show. You know, you have a concert and you have what you have to do, but it's not. You don't show so much yourself. You are in the show and do what you have to do. You know, if it is playing or whatever, it's not you. But here I talk as I talk. I say what I think and so on. You know, that's different.
Is this you now?
I hope so.
Okay.
Hello, Henrik from Sweden.
Oh, wonderful. Hello. Hello.
So, Terry has little time, so give them the possibility to ask questions or talk with them.
Yes, Mark or Henrik, I would say, go ahead.
I missed the show. Henrik should be asking the questions.
Hello, Henrik. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I loved your show very much, and I loved the talk and how you brought forth the WeSpace. I just want to say that. I really appreciated the connectedness, and so I was wondering. So you in the show, you guys talked about. For me, like older people don't necessarily broadcast on a high level of cognition or a high level of transmission, or so. And then I guess that was what happened to you, Mark, when you left that community. And when I look at the integral map really helps me, because when I look at my parents, they don't necessarily broadcast on that high level. So I don't, but I still try to connect to that WeSpace, because I think that's where I grow and how I can challenge myself instead of just so it pushes my edge. So I was just wondering that it's difficult to target the where one is at. So when I meet an older person, it's not necessarily that they have a great wisdom. They can have great wisdom, but they can be younger and have great wisdom. So it's difficult. This is Mike. Hello.
Nice.
Say hello.
Oh, yes. Hello,
Lovely.
Kiki. Oh, beautiful.
Ours is closed for today because they make so much mess here.
So you want to comment on that?
Well, I think that, your parents are your parents. They brought you into the world, and you have an incredibly intimate connection to them. But you also have all this habit energy built up, and they have a lot of habit energy built up, such that it tends to be that you have the same conversations over and over again, and things don't become real. And in relationships like that, there's still an opportunity. There's an opportunity to disarm the habit momentum and to actually make real contact. To sometimes just the ordinary gestures of love, like bringing an unexpected gift, the kind of thing that might please your mother or father that you haven't tended to do in the past, and finding a way to break through the veil such that you actually make real contact. And it may be that you will discover that they know you very, very well. And there's a way that they love you and care about you that's unique. Nobody loves you like your mother and your father. And so the fact that their cognition is not as complex as yours is only one aspect of things. That's true, but it's also partial. And to root yourself in that is to look down upon them and be uninterested in them in a way that doesn't take advantage of the opportunities that you have there. Yeah. So I would point that out. I would also then say that there are just noticing what I pointed out right there, you can notice and I don't accuse you of this in a judgmental way. I'm as guilty of it as anyone, and so I'm not. But there's an arrogance there, like, hey, I've got more complex cognition, and you guys aren't interesting. And you're probably, all of us are, tending to bring that kind of arrogance to so many things, and we don't notice what is there in general. So finding your way into the present moment such that you're in that beginner's mind with that don't know spirit, such that you can notice what is there, can shift things. And in your relationship to your own aging, and in your relationship to others who are older than you, you can discover what is there. There's probably a lot that is there that you're not seeing. But you also should slake your thirst for adequacy. That is, people who are adequate to your level of complexity. And they may or may not be, aging has nothing to do with that. That they may be older, they may be younger, who cares, who knows? But you can't live on a mono diet of cognitive complexity. It's not going to, your soul is going to be undernourished, and the arrogance will turn and bite you. So your capacity to get beyond that framing and into the actual living presence of other people, particularly your folks, but there are probably other older people in your life or in your world who might be able to communicate even more wisdom to you than your parents, and who, there are a lot of particularly, if you're living in Sweden, there are a lot of very, very smart people who are cognitively focused. That tends to be energetically part of the Swedish character, to be kind of clear and evidence-based and rational, and there's a lot of important original work, particularly being done environmentally by Swedish scientists and thinkers, or Norwegians and others. But I value all that, and I feel, when I've come to Sweden to speak or teach, I've felt, an appreciation for that. But integral theory can just exaggerate that headiness, and it's not a healthy thing. No. So finding your way beyond the myopia of your intelligence is part of your practice. If practice is wholeness reasserting itself in the face of fragmentation, finding your way into that kind of wholeness is super important. And you're going to do that through feeling. And so all of a sudden there's all kinds of ways that your feeling is probably attenuated in various ways. And there may be ways that your mother's love touches your feeling. I mean, it may be that in some years ahead, after she's gone, you're going to wish that you spent time with her in certain ways, or your father, I don't know. That the opportunities that are there at the level of feeling, who knows? It's an undiscovered country. And yeah.
I think it's funny that you say that, because it's, on the one hand, there are those old habit patterns between my parents and me, and some things like my mother can say will trigger me, and I have to like rest with my trigger warning inside and be with the feeling, as you say. She can say things like, I'm old and I don't want to change, or things like that. I'm an old dog and I'm not interested in, and so on. And then I get frustrated because I want her to still, invite her to still be hungry at life, which I see her do at other things. But so it's funny that you have to really be vulnerable in the moment and notice when you close and notice when you open.
Yeah. Yeah. And can you feel, just like, I can feel you softening and opening to the whole consideration that we're having. I can feel that. And, as you do that, you're gaining a kind of wisdom. You're just adding a dimensionality to your sensibilities. And I don't know how significant this is. I'm not trying to claim that this is some big breakthrough, but the accumulation of many such moments where something is allowed in that you weren't quite including a moment before, this becomes a kind of wisdom. And that's happening in your life right now. You're growing and learning in this school of life. And you're wiser than you were, 5 years ago, even 1 year ago. And if you're valuing that, if you can see that happening in yourself, then that creates the ground for a kind of watchfulness and curiosity as to the kind of accumulated wisdom you might encounter in another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I can only think of smart-ass things to say to you, Henrik, so I will refrain.
he has been a very faithful watcher of our shows, so
Yeah.
he is connecting with us old folks.
Yes, he is.
How often did we press your triggers?
Mhm.
Not very often at all. I wonder if that happens more often within a family, you know, where you have all these habits and protection and stuff like that. Some of the protection I feel is necessary at some time when you feel overwhelmed, and some you have to grow and let go, and then I can open up and they can open up, and but it's an ongoing process, I guess.
It's hardest actually in the relationships that we are most familiar with. It's hardest to do it in your family of origin. And it's also hard, like, you know, there's a saying that you've heard these old sayings: the shoemaker's son goes barefoot, the prophet is never recognized in his own town.
Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry, Terry, I muted you. I wanted to mute Mark. Because
okay, so am I still muted?
no,
We hear you now.
Well, the people who don't know you are willing to be surprised, whereas the people who do know you think they already know what you're going to be like. And so finding your way into a moment where you drop it all and you let yourself be surprised with each other is, it's a real art. But I think, you know, particularly your parents, if you asked in a sincere way, not telling them what you know and trying to convince them of something, but just offering the vulnerability and the desire for intimacy and closeness. You know, I love you, and there are these moments that break through the pattern where we can really feel you. I want more of that. And hey, I don't think you'll be, you know, you know, it can be real work. I don't mean to minimize the challenge that it had, but I think there's a way forward. I think you can do it. Yeah. I have to go now.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I want to thank you. Nice to meet you, Hendrik. Good to see you, Mark.
Nice to meet you.
And good to see and be with you, Mark and Heidi. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this was good. Thank you, Hendrik, also for coming. I missed you. I was aware that our topic was not exactly yours, but
Okay, Mark is muted now.
Mark is muted. If you want to talk, Mark, you have to unmute yourself, going on the top of, okay.
Okay. Oh. Well, Mark, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What would you have asked Terry had you had the chance?
Well, I'm having a dilemma right now, and maybe Henrik can offer a good perspective on this. I am unhappy with how my father and his wife, not my mother, are interacting with me, treating with me this last couple of years, and it leaves me really unmotivated to call him or be friendly or go visit. I hate visiting there. I last talked to him at Christmas, and I'll probably call him on his birthday, but I'm just feel betrayed by him. And for me, I just don't tolerate betrayals. I disappear. And my brother and sister are, and I suppose everybody's unhappy that I have just disappeared. And I know it's a shadow issue for me. I could just forgive them all. I could just say, well, yeah, he betrayed me, but so what? I can get over that. I could do that. But I'm not. I'm like, you motherfucker, go have, I don't want to come visit you. I don't want to talk to you. I just think you and I are done. That's what I tell myself.
Well, gosh, of course, we don't know the details of that. Don't know what you consider betrayal. Or how,
I don't think that is so much in the
that's
things
not the
itself.
point.
Yeah. My question would be, how do you feel with that?
I feel some peace for taking care of myself. Removing myself from a situation with a toxic person, his wife is the toxic one, and then he doesn't do anything to rein in her bad behavior. And that's the problem. And he used to, years and years ago, he did rein her in, but he's quit.
Maybe he would need you as an ally?
What?
Maybe he would need you as an ally, because if he was before standing up against bad behavior of his wife, and now he doesn't, he might need help. He might have given in or something.
Yeah. She may be as hard on him as me. I don't know. My brother and sister, she's been a terrible influence on him over the decades that they've been married.
Henrik, what would you say?
Well, I guess sometimes when we withdraw, that's a sign that sometimes we feel a lot of shame and guilt. And I would investigate what has triggered. I would invite you to investigate what exactly, what behavior on your father's side and what behavior exactly on his wife's side has triggered some pain or shame in you, and rest and be with that with some love with yourself, and see what comes up, and then see if you can feel a willingness to speak some of that warm honesty in relation to your father and his wife, and see if you can open up that way.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
No, that's good advice.
Very good advice.
Yep. Insightful.
Marjorie, welcome. I have muted you. Can unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, sorry it took me a long time to find my way into the room this time for some reason.
Oh,
But I was listening, so thank you for having this show. It's wonderful, as always.
okay. And Marjorie is in North Carolina, I believe?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're scattered around today.
Yeah, and this is so nice because, as we said before, our connection is more on internet than in we have some friends, but this is always, as Terry said, you have to go in the car and you have to go far away. So that's really nice.
Right.
Were you able to listen to the show, Marjorie?
Yes, she said.
Yes, I was. Yes.
So I would like to ask everybody, what was the main thing which was which has touched you, and or what it was outstanding, let's say, for you?
What's the takeaway?
What's the takeaway?
Wow, there's so much. Well, I can say that for me, when he was talking about it's not so much what we think we already know, but being willing to continue to tap into what we don't know, and to continue to grow. In other words, instead of coming from this wisdom of all of our life experience before, what we've already accumulated, still being able to continue to grow into what we don't yet know, that's brand new.
For me, it was really his prayer. I felt my heart really warm and beating. It was really, for me, it was a direct transmission, and I imagine that he is very powerful in person when he does the teaching. I knew him so from talking from the Integral Conference 3 years ago, but I have never done, on the internet I have followed some of the courses, but this was different because I had him directly in front of me and he spoke this, and this was like
He talked to us. For me, something occurred just as you were speaking, Marjorie, and it may not be the lasting impression I take with me, but we were talking about the arrogance of knowing, of the arrogance of being highly cognitive, and what predicament politically that has put us into, you know, assuming we know so much better than those poor, what did Hillary call them, the deplorables,
Right.
This is sort of public face of that same phenomena, and it's humbling to understand how that plays out with real consequences for a whole society.
So we need to take the responsibility.
Yes. And go into what we don't know, not into what we know.
We are faced with that. We have to go into what we don't know at the moment.
Yeah, it's there.
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to say something, Hendrik? Hendrik.
Henrik.
Yeah, I know. My nephew is Hendrik, and it's I always say Hendrik.
Well, I just like to say that I agree with you, Heidi, that I love the prayer thing very much. I felt very big spiritual connectedness. So how we can, an invitation on how we can look at each other and the world, and I felt that how we can be more alive, live more fully together, and see one as spirit, one another as spirit all the time.
Yeah,
a reminder of that.
Yes, it's a good reminder. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I like that, and that's and I also liked what you said, Mark, that don't mistake wisdom for cognition.
Yes. There's a difference.
Be more like in the don't know mind or not knowing position, and well, you can read a lot of intellectual theories and stuff, and that will be of great help, and you will not really know how that this moment is different from the next moment, and you won't know how it plays out. And I also like how Terry said how the river of life carries you forth, and then for this moment and the next moment and the next moment. So, but when you think you know, you're sort of, well, you can stay at that place if you like, but you can also notice it and let it go, and yes,
continue. Yeah.
be with it, the beat goes on.
The beat goes on. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, and Mark, yeah, you know.
I guess for me, it was just the reminder. I have a very high cognitive ability and somewhat lacking in my emotional intelligence. And so just pointing that out was helpful again.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So
shall we bring
I
this
think
to
we
an end?
bring it to an end.
Yeah.
I thank you very much that you
Really.
showed up
Mhm.
and that you came to the show and that, you know,
Mhm.
so we ecocentrically, we don't feel so alone.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Great.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys' show too.
Okay. We'll be back next week
Okay.
for the grand finale.
Great.
Yeah.
See
All
you.
right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.